Okay, welcome back to another video. This is going to be the final video ahead of the British National Hill Climb Championships on Sunday. I am buzzing. You are buzzing. We're all ready for it. We're going to sit back, relax, and we're going to dive into this bike setup that we've gone for. So although this is my hill climb bike, diehards probably won't call it that because it's not light enough, and it has those kind of brakes that divide attention on the internet. But this bike has done lots of things for me this year. It's done criterium racing, it's done hill climbs, it's done Grand Fondos, it's done adventure rides, and it's also done super fast alpine and pretty treacherous Welsh descents. One thing to bear in mind with this video is this is just my setup, and I know there'll be lighter setups out there, but the reason why I've gone for certain equipment and the reason why I've made the decisions that I have is because either I'm familiar with something or it's worked for me in the past, and I don't want to make any last minute changes. I want to go with things that I'm comfortable with. So bear that in mind when you watch this video, but the comment section is down there if you want to add any feedback. So let's go. Right, I've had to make some notes because I'm not very professional at this. This is not one of those like really well put together, like here's my bike video. So we're gonna give it my best go right now. Let's get the elephant out of the room first, you know, the fact that this is a disc brake bike. Let's move on by saying that this, even though this is a disc brake bike, it is still the lightest bike I've ever ridden. It's the lightest setup that I've ever ridden, and it feels incredible when I do ride it. So we'll lead with that. Let's keep going. Okay, let's hit you first with the starting weight. 6.7 kilos. That's with bottle cages, that's with my standard saddle, handlebar tape, bar plugs, double chain rings as standard, you name it. But still race wheels, still race tires and tubes. But the rest of it, not yet optimized. I love that word. Okay, so kicking things off, we have the frame. A skeleton of a thing. The O2 VAM from Factor weighs in at 677 grams. The wheels are Black Ink 20s. They come in at 1240 grams. The tires are Pirelli P0s. They're 160 grams each. We're running Tubolito tubes, which are about 30 grams each. They are a fair old weight saving. Some people have been saying that if you run latex tubes, then the rolling resistance is better. But bearing in mind how steep this climb is and how slow we'll be going, relatively speaking, the weight saving is a potential gain versus the rolling resistance. And the other thing, keeping in the theme of this whole disc brake setup, we've gone for smaller rotor on the front. So you still have to run brakes. I know people keep saying, you know, take the brakes off, take the saddle off, take everything off you don't need. You still need to run brakes by rules. So the working brake still needs to, well, work. So we've saved weight, not much, but we've swapped out the rotor from a 160 to a 140. My deal with Vires Velo is that I use Black Ink finishing kit, which is Factor's sort of home brand. The bar and stem combo comes in at 300 grams, give or take, for the size that I run. The seat post, also Black Ink, 195 grams. We have ceramic speed bearings throughout, so that'll be headset, bottom bracket, and wheels. And finishing off, we have the Wahoo bolt, the old version, the Black Ink out front mount, which is very neat and tidy. I could go for the lighter, like the mount that you use when you sort of just cable tie. It's like marginally lighter, like 20 grams. But then my computer is going to be closer, like it's going to be on my stem, so if I'm out the saddle my knees might hit it. I just don't want that faff, so I'm just going to leave it out front where it is. It's out the way and I can still see it. Moving on to the smaller stuff, we have the cassette, which is an 1130. Now some people do run like a smaller range, so I won't actually need the 30 unless there's a horrendous headwind, but I will need the 11, so I've got a good range. But with that cassette, which is a Dura-Race 12-speed cassette, 220 grams give or take, I will get really good teeth jumps, like basically from like 19 down to 11 give or take. I'm gonna say that a lot, give or take, but I will have good clean jumps down. And because this is a Dura-Race setup, it's electronic, there's some good clean jumps as well, like it's good gear changes. The chain, this is actually the only thing that we spent money on when changing the setup in the last week or so. The chain actually cost me around £20, and it's a SRAM GX Eagle 12 speed specific. It's also like 1 specific to a certain extent, which with all the links taken out we didn't need. I can't remember how many that was. So the bar tip came off, and the bar end plugs, they weighed about 100 grams combined, which is actually like a fair amount. But people always say, why do you remove handlebar tape? Psychologically, when you're looking down and you see handlebar tape there, you realize that you could have done something more by just taking that off. It's not really needed. So that's the reason why we don't run bar tape. So the chain ring is from Rota. It's a 34 tooth, weighs just 30 grams. So we've in effect taken both rings off, front derailleurs come off, and we've just taped the cable for the electronic to the frame. It's very neat, very clean. So that saves like about 150 to 200 grams there by just running that single ring. And like I said, it runs really well. Pedals, Dura-Race pedals. Why? Because I've always been a fan of Shimano pedals, but it also means I can still use my 4i left-sided power meter, which I've been using for like 4 or 5 years now. And to finish off, we have the Sella Italia SLR Techno carbon saddle, which comes in at about 90 grams. There are lighter saddles on the market, but because I'm so used to the Sella Italia I've been riding, this is a perfect compromise. So that just leaves us with the overall bike weight. And I am blown away because this weight, in theory, is as it is in a hill climb setup. And lots of brands tend to, you know, weigh their bikes when there's no pedals on or when there's no bike computer or bike computer mount. But this is like the full weight, that this is the weight I'll be running it on Sunday. And it comes in at 6.1 kilos. And lots of you were guessing on my Instagram post what sort of weight it would be. You're all very close. Like you're all like super like into it. You know exactly how much things would weigh. And that's a really good guess, and that's a really good weight for this bike. And like I say, it's a bike that I've been using all year. It does everything. To get it down to that weight just for this day, I'm really happy about it. So that's gonna end this video. It is now time to grab the popcorn and get ready. I won't be eating the popcorn. You can grab the popcorn and get ready for Sunday. Keep an eye out on social media. There's bound to be something about. If not, I will catch you next week.